Alright guys, so I'm doing this right after my update video, but I wanted to give you guys for a long time my collection of cameras. So a little bit of backstory on me. This is going to be a Nikon collection. So I do have just a few other cameras, but I'm primarily a Nikon shooter. I did go to Fujifilm for 2 years before it kind of exploded over the last year in popularity. I would like to grab another Fuji at some point, but they have gone up in price. So I did it before it was cool. So now I'm back to Nikon, and maybe it'll be cool to come back to Nikon as a trend. It kind of is right now, but I want to give you guys my full camera collection of Nikon right now. Lenses are going to be another video because this will get too long if it gets to everything. So just prefacing that, kind of always been a Nikon shooter. It was what I started with, which I still have that camera here. And I'm going to mention other cameras that I had at the end of the video from Nikon that I no longer own. And kind of what happened to that as kind of a bonus at the end. But we will start with film cameras, and then we will go to digital, and none of these are really in any particular order. So this was my first Nikon film camera that I bought for college. So I do have a bachelor's degree in photography, and the first photography class that you take in school is a black and white film class, and they did require a fully manual film camera, and this is a Nikon FTN, and so this is what I ended up getting. I have no idea where I got it because I've had it for almost 8 years now. My first film camera was a Pentax K1000, and I shot some Fuji 200 or Fuji 400. I don't even know what it was. This was 10 years ago now. Sold that after a few rolls of film, and then got this several years after that. It is the most common version of the Nikon mat. Like I said, I have no idea where I got it. In school, I didn't know how to use a light meter very well, so I was actually guessing all of my settings, and they were pretty good. So I keep this 50mm E-series on here pretty much at all times. Like I said, this isn't a lens video, but that's just what I like to shoot this with. There's no film in it right now, so it's been an absolutely great camera. I do have a white piece of duct tape here because the light seals were pretty much bad right when I got it. I got some light leak, but I do plan on fixing that in the future. But it is fully working, and I really love this camera. I'll probably always keep it because they're not really worth anything, so there's no point in selling this camera. Alright, the next film camera that I have is my most recent acquisition of all of my cameras. This is a Nikon EM. This is the fully program mode camera. A coworker gave this to me for free. It does have the same 50mm E-series on it, but this lens is pretty bad, so I'm basically using this as a body cap right now. If I were to shoot it, I would change that lens, but this is pretty much Nikon's smallest camera. As you can see, I have pretty big hands, and I have to pretty much two finger to hold on to it. Have not ran any film through this. I do need a battery and a light seal kit because the felt on this entire camera is completely disintegrated. But other than that, it does seem to be fully operational. I've not found really any issues going on with it. So this one I will be shooting pretty soon to try out. But I'm really happy that I got this one. I think it's a really cool camera. And my last Nikon film camera that I have right now, this is the Nikon F5. I got this so that I could use pretty much any modern lens that I want to. Those other ones can't use G series lenses. So any newer lenses that I might have, this is the only way I would be able to shoot them on film. I've thrown everything from a 24-70 on here to a 24 tilt shift lens to my 200 to 400 lens. It can pretty much just accept any modern Nikon lens without an issue at all. So currently I do have a roll of Portra 400 in here with 8 shots left on it. We're expecting some snow tomorrow, so I'm reserving those shots for this camera. But I have ran about 12 to 15 rolls of film through this camera over the last 6 months, and it's absolutely fantastic. The meter is great on it. Same situation, I do have a lens on it right now because I'm lacking a few body caps, so that's just kind of on here as a placeholder right now. But love this camera, excellent battery life. I might sell it in the future to get a Nikon F3. I kind of like the older classic look of the film bodies, so this one looks pretty much like a new camera. Next, we will go into my oldest digital Nikon right now. This is the D1X 6 megapixel, pretty much the exact same body as the F5, except it has a tiny little screen on it. This one I've only been able to shoot a few times. The proprietary battery is pretty dang bad. It takes all day to charge, and I get about 50 to 60 shots if I shoot it right away out of this thing. So it's got to be planned like a day in advance if I'm going to shoot this thing. But this one I might be selling just due to the battery and also the fact that these do fetch a little bit of money right now, and I have plenty of other cameras to use. So we'll see what happens, but I got it for $30 with everything here and the charger that is behind me on the desk right there. So wonderful camera. Next we will go to this is technically my second D70. I bought this on Goodwill for $20 with a 50mm D series lens. I originally bought this to convert it to infrared, although I might convert another camera to infrared now. That's extra since I have so many. But this is just a Goodwill find that I got online, and I cleaned it up a little bit. It's got a crap ton of shots on it for a D70. It's got like 22,000 shots, and I'm pretty sure this camera traveled the world because their card that they left in here, there were photos in like France and everything like that. Obviously deleted all of those, don't need them. But yeah, this camera's been pretty heavily used and it looks pretty good still. But this is a second D70 that I got for cheap, which will lead us to the first D70. This D70 is very special to me. My dad bought this brand new back in 2004. And it took pictures of me growing up from age, whatever that would be, 5, I think I was. So there's tons and tons of pictures I was taken on this of me and the family growing up. This one currently has about 11,000 clicks on it, which is low in comparison to cameras today, but is a pretty decent amount for an older DSLR like this. Pretty much has no issues at all still. Only issue I do have is a couple hot pixels, which if they show up, it's easy enough to spend 2 seconds and correct that in Photoshop or Lightroom. I don't use this one a whole lot, but it is here. I do have grip tape on it because I could not remove the stickiness entirely, and then it does say Old Faithful on it, which is something that we put on way back in high school. But this was the first DSLR that I ever got to play with, and I have it here now, and I'll hopefully have it forever. Hopefully it never breaks. So moving into the next one, I guess. This is a D300S. It is in pretty good condition. It's probably my nicest camera I have right now in terms of condition. Has a screen protector on it. It came with the original paperwork. I think I paid like $160 for it, which was a little less than what the other ones were going for because the CF card slot has a bent pin on it, which I just use the SD card. This is also probably my camera that I use the least. It's an extra camera, so this is one that I'm considering having sent off to convert to infrared, sell that second D70 to help fund that cost instead of just having that one done. Next, this is another more recent pickup. This is my Nikon D50. I can't remember the shutter count on it. It's nothing too crazy. I bought this for $10 plus shipping on Goodwill. It was sticky as well, so I've added my grip tape to it. This one is probably one of my favorite CCD cameras that I own. The improved ISO performance from the D70, because this uses the same sensor as a D70, is very noticeable. I actually have shot this at 1600 ISO plenty of times at night. I've been really impressed with it. So this one I love using. It's really light and yeah, wonderful camera. That's what I did the video on the channel earlier, a couple months ago. So yeah, this is definitely a good keeper. All right, and then this is my last digital crop body that I have. This is my D200. I got this on Goodwill as well with a pretty crappy 75 to 300, like, I think it's a Tamron. I don't use that lens. Nobody will buy it either. It's worth like $10. But I got it for, I think, $60 with that lens plus shipping. Had a very low shutter count. I think it had about 4,000 shutter clicks on this D200. I've probably put less than 1,000 on it. I don't know what it's currently sitting at. But this one is in very close cosmetic condition to the D300S that I just showed you. It's got a couple little scratches on it, but other than that, it is a very nice camera. It's got a screen protector on it. Someone took really, really good care of this thing. I use this one whenever I know I'm going to need a little bit better performance in a D50, and I use this thing as much as I can. All right, so warning, we have another pair of cameras here. The same thing. So I'll talk about the first one of those. This is my D700. This is the first one I bought, and this is the worst condition out of the pair, and it is probably my worst condition camera overall. It does have a sheen to it. I had to replace the grips, which don't look perfect, and it has like some glue and stuff that spilled over from the previous person, and it's got some wear. There's a little bit of metal showing on some of the edges, and the finish is breaking down. But this is my first D700. I bought it on eBay. I believe it was either $190 or $200 that I paid for it. It had 133,000 clicks at the time. It's probably about 136 now. But this camera is my primary camera if I'm going to be out casual or just need a camera to throw in the car real quick. I don't care if it rolls around and gets scratched or anything like that. It's just a good camera to have that you can just toss in the car and go. So I absolutely love this one. And yeah, I think I'll, if I had to get rid of one, it would probably be this, just because it is a duplicate. So we'll get to the next one of those now. This is the second D700. This one is in near mint condition. It was owned by an old person who traded it into the local camera store. I bought this on a total whim. I was there getting film. I noticed it behind the counter. It came with a box and battery grip and everything just like brand new. Only 20 or 22,000 shutter clicks, and they wanted either 200 or 225 for it. So yeah, I bought that straight away. That's a really, really good deal. It's about half as much as you would expect to pay for that on eBay. So this is my nicer D700. You notice this one has just a basic Nikon strap on it, and it's because this one is the one that I would probably take out if I were to do street photography, that I can keep around my neck. It's a little bit easier whenever you have a strap doing street photography. So this one I do keep the strap on, and yeah, so this one I will use if I know it's not going to be tumbling around or it's going to get shaken up in a bag or something like that, since it's so nice. So that one, this one I use less because it is kind of like a low mileage car or whatever, has low shutter count. So this one I keep around for that purpose. And this is our final camera. This is my Nikon D4S. This is a second one from the one that I did the unboxing of. So that one did not have shutter failure actually after 600,000 clicks. What happened was my primary lens, my 24-70 2.8, the camera was no longer recognizing that lens. It was giving an error whenever I attached that lens, and we confirmed that lens was working on multiple other cameras. We didn't see any bends or issues with that lens, so we could only assume that there's an issue with the bayonet mount on that camera. So I went ahead and returned that and bought this from another website. I can't remember which was which, but one was Use Photo Pro and then one was the other one that's not KEH. I can't remember which one I got this one from, but I paid $80 more for this one, and it had half the shutter count. So this one's in the very high 200,000 shutter count. So this is one that I can beat on. It's not 100% perfect, but all of the grips and stuff is intact. It's got quite a bit of scratches and stuff, but it's 100% intact. It is fully reliable. I can put a battery in it and shoot all day long with this battery. So this I use for any sort of action events, if I'm going to a drift event, or actually I do a lot of car meets with this one. Just people pulling in and out, you need a fast autofocus and fast burst rate. So that's what I use this one for. And then sometimes I'll still use it for, family pictures or anything else like that. This is my newest camera. I don't need a camera that's going to be able to shoot 80,000 ISO and look completely perfect. That's not something that appeals to me. Most that I would ever go is 8,000 ISO. This camera completely can handle that, no problem at all. I would actually trust this to go to like 25,000 ISO without a problem. The autofocus is still fantastic for drift events or wildlife photography. So that's the only thing that I would need a quicker autofocus system for, which this is perfectly fine for that. You do not need any object detection or face detection or anything like that. That's pretty much the only feature newer cameras are coming out with these days, and a little bit better ISO performance. But this is pretty much the best that you can get before we start hitting that kind of mentality, we'll say, with camera manufacturers. So I love this thing. It's all I need. 16 megapixel is more than enough for printing anything. I would print 20 by 30 out of this no problem if I wanted to, without any question. So other than that, that is the complete Nikon collection. I'm always looking for stuff. I'm sure I'll acquire more as they come up on Goodwill or whatever for a good deal. So let's move into bonus time. So I want to give you guys a rundown of the other Nikon cameras that I've had, and it's only a few. So the first one was the first Nikon that I ever bought with my own money. After owning the D70 for a couple of years from my dad, I sold a lot of stuff and I raised the money myself before I had a job, and I was able to purchase a used D7000 back in 2013, I believe. So I bought that on eBay. I believe it was around the $700 to $800 mark at the time, and I used that for about 1.5 years until the autofocus actually failed, which is a known problem. so the contrast detect autofocus failed on that camera. It was still focused with phase detect and live view, but I couldn't mess with that. I didn't want to get it fixed, so I sold it off for like $300 or $400 at that time. And after that, I think I briefly took a break, and then after I got my job, I was able to raise enough money to buy a used D3 with approximately 95,000 actuations on the shutter. I believe I paid around $1,200 for it at the time. This was around 2015, I want to say. I used that camera up until my first or second year of college, I believe. I went ahead and sold that camera and pretty much just bought a D800E for the same price at that point. That one I think had a little bit more shutter actuations on it. Probably mid 100,000, 120 to 150,000, somewhere in there that it had on it. And that was my primary camera for the remainder of photography school up until about the first year after school, where I went to Fuji for a couple of years. So I had 3 prime lenses for that camera and the D3 at the time. And I think I had a cheap zoom of some sort because that's what I could afford. And I absolutely love that camera. Would like to get another one in the future when they come down to about $200. I would recommend the E specifically over the 800 base because of the removal of the AA filter. In my opinion, anything over 24 megapixels should not have a AA filter on it. So with that being said, I currently do not own any cameras with the AA filter removed from it. Because my highest megapixel is that D4S right there. So yeah, that is the other Nikon cameras I have had. I don't think I've sold anything else right now, and I've not owned anything else up until I went to Fuji and then came back to Nikon in 2023. So call me crazy for buying all of this old stuff, or from coming back from Fuji from an X-T4, whatever you want to say. I'm open to discuss that. But I've really been enjoying, the older CCD cameras and, even the older CMOS cameras. I've posted pictures out of the D1X from Cars and Coffee to social media, and nobody has said, oh, this is taken with a 20-year-old camera. You don't need a crazy amount of megapixels for social media at all. And I barely print stuff out. It's just really expensive to get that stuff printed and framed and everything. So, but if I did, I would have no problem, even on the 712 megapixel, I would have no problem printing a 20 by 30 print out if I wanted to. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to leave a comment, we can discuss something else about this. I'd love to carry on the conversation there. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed my Nikon collection, and we may do a lens collection video as well. So stay tuned, and we will see you in the next video.